right? There's the share, the fellowship, joining with the Lord's people. This is not, I feel their pain type of mentality. Oh, isn't that terrible? I feel their pain as I go on my merry way. It is participation. They joined themselves with those who were being made a gazing stock. They participated. Right? Here we have another element in the glue of God's people, and it is the virtue of a spiritual and biblical loyalty. Loyalty is not made much of these days. It still appears here and there. But there is a biblical spiritual loyalty. And when I say that, I'm distinguishing it, for example, from mere blind loyalty. Right? There is loyalty to the tribe. Even the world's got that. The Lord's people can have it too. Loyalty to family, friends, and so on. Clannishness that says, well, I'm standing with them no matter what. No matter what the circumstances, I'm going to stand with them. But if they're not standing with Christ, then that's called treason. That sort of tribal clannishness, which is a perversion, blind loyalty, is treason to the Lord Jesus Christ. No, I'm speaking here of biblical loyalty. It's a loyalty that is first and foremost attachment to Jesus Christ. And because of our unqualified allegiance, as I repeatedly say, unqualified allegiance to Jesus Christ, there is an inescapable loyalty to all that is his own people, all that belongs to him, not only his truth and kingdom, his people. There's a loyalty in the house of God to one another that the world doesn't know anything of, because it's a union that the world doesn't know anything of. Union with Christ, and thereby united one to another as fellow members of the same body. There must be, should be, ought to be a biblical loyalty here. But what happens? Someone is paying the price tag for allegiance to Jesus Christ. And in our day and age, people begin to scatter. People begin to create a little bit of distance. Well, yeah, I know him, and he's cool, and we like him, and so on and so forth. But we're going to create some distance, right? I'm going to take a low profile here because he's in the spotlight, she's in the spotlight for something, for standing for the Lord, and so I'm going to, stay a few steps off, as it were. Paul says, no. He says, whilst ye became companions of them that were so used, you joined yourself to them. You were loyal. You said, in essence, I have your flank. Lock and load, to use a modern expression. We're going into battle. And brethren are there side by side the whole way. And Paul says, look, verse 34, you had compassion on me in my bonds. Look at the price tag. You took the joyful spoiling of your own goods and so on and so forth. Here's Paul, and this is one of those texts among many in the book of Hebrews that I think shows us the Pauline authorship of Hebrews. That this kind of language, self-referential, he's referring to himself as one who was in his bonds. Well, Paul is written everywhere in the New Testament. He is the quintessential preeminent one in bonds. And he's constantly referring to himself in bonds and his relationship to others in bonds. And the other competitors as potential authors of Hebrews do not have that description. So it's just an aside. But here's Paul. And he's saying, I've experienced it. I've been a recipient of it. I've seen it up close and personal. This isn't theoretical. This isn't just ideological. This is practical. This is real. And the fact is that some of you can say the same. Many of you can say the same. You've known the same experience. You can say with the Apostle Paul, I've been there. I've gone through that. I have seen the loyalty of God's people. That whether it be taking a stand and trying to follow the Lord and others standing with you and defending you and backing you and laboring with you. You've experienced that. Perhaps on other occasions, it's not so directly connected to things like persecution, if you will, but you've gone through hard times, you've gone through deep waters and trials, and there were loyal people who were in the trenches with you, who refused to forsake you, who refused to leave you, who were there in the thick and the thin, and so on and so forth. Biblical loyalty, who stood with, supported, defended, participated, and so on. Paul says, I've seen it. I hope that not only, and I know it's true, many of you not only have experienced that, what Paul's describing, but you've also experienced what these Hebrews have. You've been the one who said, I'm deliberately, self-consciously choosing to enter into the difficulties with a brother or sister.